you planning your LSAT prep? How to study for the LSAT is a challenge for any law school applicant, as this is one of the toughest, most difficult to prepare for admissions exams you can take. Getting into law school is no easy task, and the LSAT is one of the biggest hurdles in your way. You'll need to work hard and smart, prepare well in advance, and follow the right LSAT prep strategies to ensure you maximize your chances of getting a good LSAT score. In this video, we'll provide a step-by-step LSAT prep guide with some expert tips to help you make the most of your prep time. Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm an admissions associate here at BMO. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe on whatever social media channel you're watching this from now so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you would like us to help you with your law school application, click on the link either above or below this video to schedule your free initial consultation. As a quick tip, check out the timestamp in the description of this video to navigate to specific sections of the video that you're interested in. Here's what we're going to cover. Why prep for the LSAT? LSAT prep strategy number 1, take the right courses in your undergrad. LSAT prep strategy number 2, research and review key test info. LSAT prep strategy number 3, take an LSAT diagnostic test. Step number 4, create an effective LSAT study schedule. LSAT prep strategy number 5, go through preparation materials. LSAT prep strategy number 6, practice sample questions in untimed sessions. LSAT prep strategy number 7, complete timed practice of each section. LSAT prep strategy number 8, review and analyze your results. LSAT prep strategy number 9, complete timed practice of sample exams. And LSAT prep strategy number 10, relax the week before the exam. By the way, we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions, so comment below for a chance to win. Now let's get started. Why prep for the LSAT? The LSAT is designed to measure the skills you need to study law and excel in law school. It tests aptitudes and abilities rather than knowledge of any specific content. The LSAT tests your analytical reasoning, reading comprehension, and logical reasoning. The LSAT isn't a test of your pre-existing knowledge of any specific area. Rather, it tests you on your ability to process complex information, apply logic, analyze data, use reasoning to arrive at solutions, and perform under high-pressure, timed situations. So, to ace your LSAT, you need to spend enough time developing the required skills, get familiar with the questions, and get extremely comfortable with the test format so you can complete the test in the given time. The maximum score for the LSAT is 180, and the score of 170 or above is essential if you want admissions into the top law schools. So, how can you get this score? By following the LSAT prep strategies we outline in this video. It's never too early to begin preparing for your LSAT, and if you really want to get ahead on developing the required skills for this exam, consider taking relevant coursework in your undergrad. For instance, you could take courses such as logic, critical writing, philosophy, advanced English literature, etc. to help you sharpen crucial skills such as the ability to parse dense information, understand complicated texts, analyze important data, and reason out a solution, all of which you need to answer the reading comprehension and logical reasoning sections of the LSAT. Note that these aren't mandatory courses for law school, nor do they offer specific instruction on LSAT test-taking strategies. Essentially, the courses we suggest above help you get comfortable with reading dense passages on new topics, which would make your transition into LSAT preparation that much easier. Before you actually start studying for the LSAT, it's very important that you take the time to thoroughly research everything you can about the LSAT, including the test format, the key skills being tested, and the test-taking instructions. The LSAT is all about quick turnaround, as you get just 35 minutes to answer each section, and you simply won't have any time to ponder over every question, understand what's being asked of you, and read through the instructions during the actual exam. Instead, you should come into the test already knowing exactly how to answer each section, what types of questions to expect in each section, the key skills to apply to arrive at the answer, and how you will be scored. For instance, The analytical reasoning section of the LSAT poses logic games that require students to analyze the data given, decipher the complex relationship between multiple objects, and use critical analysis to arrive at an answer. Hence, you need to develop specific strategies to tackle these questions without wasting too much time trying to understand them, which is bound to happen if you're not familiar with the skills being tested on the question. After getting familiar with the LSAT test format and understanding the skills required, the next step is to take a diagnostic LSAT test. The Law School Admissions Council, or LSAC, free practice test from the official LSAT administrating body is ideal for this purpose. Since it's an official source, you can get a reliable diagnosis of your performance. This initial diagnostic test is taken cold, i.e. without any prep, so you can get a clear idea of where you stand, what are your key areas for improvement, and therefore which sections of the LSAT you should be focusing on. The data you gather in this step will help you create a more personalized and effective LSAT study schedule. Once you are thoroughly familiar with the LSAT format and have at least a basic idea of what you need to do to prepare for the test, you can focus on creating a comprehensive, effective study schedule that meets your specific needs. Here are some tips to help you at this stage. Firstly, you should spend at least 250 to 300 hours studying for the LSAT over a period of 3 to 4 months at a rate of 20 to 25 hours per week. Anything less, and you're risking being underprepared for one of the most important exams of your life. What is the point of writing an excellent law school personal statement and taking challenging pre-law coursework if you end up with a pitiful LSAT score because you didn't give yourself enough time to prep? Make sure you create a plan that gives you plenty of time to prepare and practice for the LSAT. Secondly, divide your plan into 3 broad stages. Learning. This is a stage when you spend time going into further detail to learn all about the exam. At this stage, you can utilize LSAT study materials to get familiar with the test and key test-taking strategies. Prepping. In this stage, you simply practice answering as many questions as possible from each section. The key here is to get familiar with the question types and figure out how to tackle the different questions. Practicing. In this crucial stage, you can focus on taking timed sample LSAT exams that will test the all-important ability to complete the LSAT in a given time. We will discuss what to do in each of these stages in further detail later in this video when we go over the next few steps of this LSAT prep guide. Next, make sure the study plan includes consistent, evenly spread out study and practice sessions as opposed to frantic cramming sessions on weekends and in between classes. Remember that the LSAT doesn't require you to memorize set texts about law or any other topic. Rather, it tests specific skills, and the only way to develop those skills is to consistently practice, practice, and practice. This is a matter of slow and steady wins the race. There is absolutely no scope for last-minute cramming when preparing for the LSAT. Finally, figure out how much time you need to study and an effective study plan that works with your schedule and other commitments, and only then book the date of your LSAT exam. That way, you can ensure that you'll be fully ready when you take the exam. Next, gather LSAT preparation materials and go over the required concepts you need to know for the exam. The LSAC offers previously administered official exam bundles and prep materials, and they are essential study materials for every student. Start by going over these to get a more in-depth understanding of each section of the test, as well as the key test-taking strategies you need to develop, such as correctly identifying reasoning structure in dense passages of text and using the knowledge to find the answer, accurately differentiating between words used to describe reasoning relationships in logic games, such as if, but, only, etc., so as to properly understand the data being presented, using diagramming as a technique to visualize scenarios, rules, and structures pertaining to logic-based questions, learning to eliminate incorrect answers by evaluating reasoning relationships and identifying the options that do not justify the point of the question. Many of the LSAT prep guidebooks provide not only strategies but also exercises to help you sharpen the skills required for the exams, such as logic games to help you improve your performance in the analytical reasoning section. Additionally, you can also choose to take on external help via a course or tutoring. From guidebooks with detailed explanations of each question and recorded courses covering each section to live classroom training and individualized LSAT tutoring, there's a lot of preparation options available for you to choose from depending on your needs. When you're making this decision, consider your own study styles and decide accordingly. What do you think is the best way to study to maximize your chances of getting a good score? For instance, if you prefer one-on-one coaching and want intensive help with a specific area of the test, hiring an LSAT tutor would be a good idea. On the other hand, if you're a self-sufficient learner and you prefer audio-visual learning, you can consider taking a pre-recorded video or audio course series for the LSAT prep. Once you're thoroughly comfortable with the test format and you have understood the basic test-taking strategies required, you can move on to actually practicing sample questions. At this stage, it's best to focus on answering the questions correctly rather than trying too hard to keep within the time limit. You will work up the speed with more practice. Remember that these questions are designed to be challenging and difficult to grasp, and it will take you time to get really comfortable with them. Initially, you may take a long time to answer each question, and that's perfectly okay. The LSAT is one of those exams where students show a great deal of improvement with consistent, targeted practice. The key to success is just to keep practicing until you get the hang of it. As you practice, you should identify the question types, game types, and skills that are most challenging for you. Focus on isolating and practicing these types of questions over and over until you see your performance improving. Completing the same types of questions again and again consecutively can help you identify the common patterns between questions and build on your previous experience to quickly consolidate the skills required to tackle those questions. The focus at this stage should be on applying all the test-taking strategies you learned about in the previous stage to answer the actual questions. At first, it will be a struggle, as for every question you have to pause, think, apply the right strategy, and then find the answer. However, the more you practice, the more these theoretical strategies will become part of your pattern of thinking, aka a habit. Soon, you'll find that you don't need to spend as much time understanding the question or figuring out how to answer it. You can quickly move on to parsing the information given and arriving at the answers thanks to the strategies that are now embedded in your brain. Once you're confident in your ability to answer the different types of questions in each section of the LSAT, you can move on to completing timed practice of each section. Remember that your goal at this stage should just be to complete each individual section within the 35-minute limit, trying to get as many correct answers as possible. In the final exam, you'll get 35 minutes for each of the sections, and you won't have the option to adjust the time between sections. This means that you have to complete each section in the allotted 35 minutes without the option of taking extra time for a particularly difficult section. Rather than focusing on one section at a time, try to cycle through each section to ensure that the skills you've developed for each LSAT section stay fresh in your mind throughout this preparatory period. Of course, if you find that you're performing particularly poorly in one LSAT section, you can always choose to schedule a few extra practice untimed sessions for that section. As you attempt to do this, you'll contend with one of the most difficult aspects of taking the LSAT: time versus questions. The nature of the LSAT exam is such that you can easily spend way too much time dwelling on one question before you even realize what you're doing. You need to consciously practice going through questions quickly and sticking to the time limit. The problem is, always considering that ticking clock can actually be very stressful and can negatively impact your ability to think logically and answer the questions. That is why it is so crucial to drill down on practicing completing each section within the given time limit. You'll need to develop the extremely important skill of being aware of the ticking clock without being distracted by it. When preparing for the LSAT, it's not enough to just practice answering questions. You also need to thoroughly review your answers and understand why and how you incorrectly answered the ones you got wrong. This is the best way to identify your areas for improvement, so you can then move on to targeted practice to help you drill down further on those questions. To help you at this stage, there are plenty of guidebooks with sample questions and detailed explanations for each question available, which could provide sufficient practice if you're good at self-analysis. Remember, the LSAT is not a test of what you know, it's a test of how you think. To correctly identify what went wrong with your answers, don't be afraid to dissect your thought process and go over each step of your reasoning to identify the error. Did you read the question wrong? Did you incorrectly think through the reasoning argument in the question? Or did you apply an illogical inference to arrive at the wrong answer? You will have to spend time breaking down your thought process for each question so that you can figure out how to do better next time. Some students find prep courses or personal tutoring particularly beneficial at this stage. Often, with question-based or logic and reasoning skills, personalized feedback from professionals or experts can be crucial to help you fine-tune these skills and quickly improve your performance. Ideally, you should complete at least 5 full-length sample tests in realistic test-taking conditions. You may take a few complete practice tests throughout your LSAT prep, for instance, a diagnostic test at the beginning and an additional test midway through the prep to review your readiness. However, our recommendation is that you complete majority of your timed sample LSAT exams in the last month or month and a half before your LSAT. This is a great way to build momentum and stamina and be in the right state of mind just before your exam. At this stage, you need to practice sustaining your focus and alertness throughout the different sections of the exam and managing your time between each section. The LSAT is a very mentally taxing exam, and despite all of your previous preparation, it might take you a couple of tries before you get comfortable with answering all the sections one after the other. Try to practice the LSAT in conditions as close to the final test conditions as possible. For instance, recently, the LSAT transitioned from a pen and paper exam to a digital exam that is conducted on a tablet. Make sure you practice answering in this format, otherwise you might waste some time getting used to the gizmo during the final exam. Finally, make sure you take it easy in the week leading up to your LSAT exam. Of course, keep up with your scheduled practice and prep tests, but don't try to cram too much last-minute prep into this week. There's no point really. As I explained before, the skills you need to ace the LSAT cannot be crammed into your brain via last-minute preparation. If at this stage you really feel you're not ready, then it's better to postpone the test. You will have to pay a small fee, but it's better than the alternative of taking the test before you're ready and receiving a poor result. Ensure that you get a good night's sleep the day before the exam and get to the exam destination with plenty of time to spare. The LSAT takes every bit of focus and determination you have, so make sure you're mentally focused and physically fit when you sit down to take the test. Check out our blog to learn more about LSAT prep. I've included a link in the description of this video so you can find the blog easily. If you would like us to help you with your law school application, click on the link either above or below this video to schedule your free initial consultation. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, so please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. If you have any questions about the LSAT prep that I didn't cover in this video, let me know in the comment section and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And don't forget, we are giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions, so comment below for a chance to win. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.